I'm back!
Yo.
Today's case is the Belle Gunness serial killer case. It is a pretty old case. Belle was born in Norway on November the 22nd, 1859, before immigrating to the US. When she was 17 years old, she fell pregnant and later on miscarried, and this apparently is where she completely changed. Her personality changed. In Chicago in 1893, Belle met a man by the name of Mads Sorensen, I think it is, and she married him. Together they opened a confectionery store and they had 4 children together: Caroline, Axel, Myrtle and Lucy. They also had an adopted daughter, Jenny, who also lived with them. 1 year after the store opened, sales weren't doing too well and the business was just going downhill. Not long after that, the store caught fire and Belle and Mads collected the insurance for the fire. A few years later, Caroline and Axel died from, I don't know if I'm saying this right, colitis, I think it's called. However, a lot of the symptoms of colitis, I'm just going to say colitis, I don't know, colitis, I'm not sure, so we'll just say colitis. The symptoms of that were very similar to that of poisoning. And then Belle claimed the life insurance money on both of their deaths. Then in 1900, the one day that Mads' 2 life insurance policies overlapped, he died of heart failure. Now, the doctors originally thought that he was poisoned, but they later decided against it and to not look into the possible poisoning. Mads' family demanded that it be looked into, saying that it was suspicious and everything like that, but no charges were filed. So Belle was paid $8,000 in insurance money from Mads' death. In 1901, Belle bought a farm in Indiana with the money from the insurance, and not long after purchasing the property, a part of the farm burnt down. And you guessed it, she claimed the insurance on it. So in April 1902, Belle married again to a man named Peter Gunness. Peter had 2 daughters from a previous marriage and they all moved in with Belle. Shortly after the wedding and moving in, Peter's youngest daughter died from unknown causes while she was in the sole care of Belle's. Then December 1902, Peter died from a meat chopper falling on his head. At first, they looked into Belle and then they later ruled her out and said that she couldn't have done it because she was pregnant at the time. And apparently, when you're pregnant, it makes you harmless and innocent. So, go figure. And then again, you guessed it, Belle cashed in on Peter's life insurance, getting $3,000. May 1903, she gave birth to a son named Philip. Now, in the house, she had Jenny, the adopted daughter, Myrtle, Lucy, and Philip. Fortunately, Peter's eldest daughter moved away with an uncle not long after Peter had passed away. Belle then put an ad in some of the local papers. I'll insert something here to say what it said. I can't quite remember what it exactly said, but it was basically, as you'll see, asking for wealthy men, basically. And that she had a farm and property to offer and stuff like that, which I guess wasn't too unusual back then. And many men replied to the ad, bringing in lots of cash to the property and then just disappearing. Now, Jenny, the adoptive daughter, I couldn't quite find out how old she was, but I'm guessing she was old enough to notice that these men were coming and going, and she started to speak up about it and I guess voice her opinion on what was happening to these men. Then one day Jenny was no longer around and Belle claimed that she had been sent off to finishing school in Los Angeles. In April 1908, Belle wrote up her final will and testament, claiming that she feared for her life because her ex-handyman, Ray Lampier, I think that Lampier or Lamper, I'm not sure how to say it again, And even if I try, I'm probably gonna pronounce it wrong anyway. But anyway, she claimed that he was deeply, madly in love with her. And that night, her house burnt down to the ground and 4 bodies were found. 3 of the 4 were thought to be Lucy, Myrtle, and Philip. And one of the bodies was actually missing its head, which my guess is that possibly could be Jenny. There is a few theories around that the 4th body is Jenny, but as far as I know, no conclusions has been made on that. Ray was arrested for arson and murder, but later only charged with the arson. One of the missing men's brothers, Asley, he showed up claiming that Belle was murdering men for money. But the sheriff was unconvinced about Asley's story, and so he decided to take it upon himself, and he asked Belle's most recent handyman, Joe Maxon, where Belle dug holes for her cinders. And Joe said it was by the hog's pen. So Asley grabbed a shovel and went over there and started digging, and he unfortunately found Belle's most recent victim, which was his brother. 12 other bodies were found at the hog pen, but it could have been a lot more because they were chopped up in all different pieces and put into, I think, different flour bags and just kind of spread out. Ray later admitted that he had helped Belle bury these bodies, and a total of 42 people she had killed. He said that it would be different each time. Sometimes she would make them a nice meal and poison their drink, then hit them over the head and crush their skull. Or she would just straight up poison them and then take them down to the basement, dissect them, and then either chop them up and bury them or feed them to her hogs. And then that night of the fire, apparently she drugged her children and then left the house. And Ray's story kind of added up, so they looked into it, and the day before the fire, she had actually withdrawn most of her money out of her bank accounts. And since then, there has only been a couple of sightings of her in Chicago. Obviously, she's not around anymore, but she basically got away with murdering all these people. Just went on like a killing spree and got away with it. What did you think about this video? Let me know down in the comments below. Give me some suggestions for future videos, and I know each week I say next week's gonna be something different, but yeah, we'll just see how that goes. What are your theories on this one? What do you guys think? Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you will see me next week with a new video.